I remember Google mentioned that they would never do multiple updates at once, but here we are. We've got like multiple policies, multiple updates going on the same time. And if a publisher is hit by it, how can they distinguish or how can they understand which update is really causing it, and if there is a fix for them to do per
Mhm.
update? If there's a tip from your end.
Mhm. So to be honest, while an update is rolling out, the only way to ensure whether, uh, like assuming that there are multiple updates rolling out, as you mentioned, the only way to track it is identify the timelines when the updates got started. At what point are you seeing some ranking fluctuations, specifically uh, drops in rankings, and then tie it back to what's going on within the community as well, because chances are people who are in a similar boat as you are, they are also seeing
Yeah.
very similar fluctuations. So Twitter is a great resource for this, people sharing insights on LinkedIn as well. So definitely these are two excellent resources, but the biggest one is your Google Search Console.
Yeah.
There is no better resource than that to plan and plot how your
Yeah.
website is performing over time. So that's one definite way that you can try and track it, but at the same time try to see the larger impact. For example, people who have been hit within the first week of March, probably they have been hit through the spam system more than the core
Core update.
update. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But along with that, there was a very big issue that was seen here, that sites got de-indexed altogether from search.
Got it. So, okay, now that you have brought that up, sites getting de-indexed, what are the reasons? And so, from the looks of it, once you're de-indexed from Google, you're pretty much getting no organic traffic at all. So,
Yeah, that's right.
and organic traffic, as you know, for most online websites, it's the biggest source of traffic for most of them. So, is this the first time Google has taken such an action, or has it been a similar approach that they've taken in the past as well?
Well, yeah. So when Google first introduced Panda, which
Hmm.
was probably their one of the first quality updates, that was 2010, 2011. And during that time was when people started seeing their websites getting de-indexed left and right. But it's more than a decade long, and today we are, this is happening probably after 10, 15 years. And this is this time people are still wary, and there's a looming lack of clarity on why is that happening. Okay, so there have been different types of cases that have been happening here. So one case that was observed within the community is that sites got de-indexed altogether, no warning, no manual penalties, nothing like that. But then there was a second set of websites which got a
Hmm.
manual penalty.
Manual action. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So with the manual action, there was one specific warning that was shown as content is spam or content is misleading.
Got
So
it.
misleading one was triggered for websites that had some Google Discover traffic coming in, and the
Got it.
spam
It's
one.
primarily for that.
Yeah. So probably, but the larger thing here is that if you are in either of these boats, chances are you are probably affected by the core algorithm much more than the spam
Then the
update
spam.
primarily. Yeah.
Got it. And like you pointed out, the Google Search Console is the primary way because for
Yep.
you to detect it. Because if your website's de-indexed, you're going to see your traffic drop to absolute zero. At the same time, a
Exactly.
manual action I think also gets highlighted in the Search Console for
Yep.
the user to fix. I think if they were to go ahead and fix it, Google can consider re-indexing the website as well.
Yeah, actually, one more easier way to, if you are very hands-on with your analytics tools, is to keep on monitoring your GA4 numbers. What are the real-time numbers looking like? Do you see any organic traffic coming in? Is it the same as what you were seeing the previous day at the same time? So these are some decent, at least borderline indicators, and primarily because Search Console data is a little delayed. I think as
Yes.
48 hours or delay in that. So
Yes,
yeah,
the console data is definitely delayed. I think it's about 24 or 48 hours of delay between it versus, yeah, I think that's a very good tip for most digital publishers. You can look at your real time traffic on your website and see the source of that traffic. Because
yeah,
if you have been de-indexed, your organic search is going to be zero. You're still going to get direct traffic and organic social traffic, but organic search is going to be zero. And if you're like most other publishers where your majority traffic comes through Google search, it's going to definitely show in the numbers.
yeah, yeah.
Now, uh, moving on with the update is why what has been the impact of this particular update so far, and why is the March update so complex compared to the other core updates that Google has released in the past?
So see, the complexity is primarily because if you look at Google's trajectory for the past 6 months since they rolled out the second phase of the helpful content update, people have been complaining about the type of results that are showing up. There's been a lot of influx and restlessness within the community of whether Google is actually showing us a decent level of quality that we deserve, that is really worth recommending, and that's the primary approach why Google might have taken such a drastic step in terms of adding multiple parameters and trying to build the helpful content system within the core algorithm. And I'll just quickly share my screen and show you a few examples of what's going on. So what we are also doing right now is we are running some studies at our end to just check how the landscape is changing, what type of sites are getting the index or seeing negative impact of the updates. So with the core algorithm update, there are three, four things that are happening. First is improved quality ranking. And what this essentially means is they are improving their core ranking systems to be able to better judge and better sort out helpful content and show helpful results to their users. They have their core mission has always been that. So and again, Google's senior engineering team have said it in a statement that this latest update will reduce unoriginal and low quality content by up to 40% in their search results. So it's
That's
a
that's a
massive impact.
massive, yeah, it's a massive impact. So I would say, a lot of publishers, digital publishers, are going to worry about that 40% impact of traffic not being shown on, say, not being these links not showing up on Google search.
Yeah,
But I think it's a big advantage for digital publishers that are putting out original content, because this 40% of traffic that was going elsewhere, it's going to come to you, because that there's
yeah, yeah.
the other way of looking at things. So I think this should encourage more original reporting, exclusive reporting, or even analysis and thought pieces that are usually missing. What I'm also seeing is a lot of publishers tend to grab the low hanging fruit by using listicles, and
Yeah.
not really doing a lot of opinion pieces on it or an in-depth analysis, just because
Correct.
in interest of time, because you're going to be able to churn out a lot more listicles, a lot more articles. Say, for example, if I would look at it from a consumer electronics perspective, a lot of it is primarily done around comparisons of the product with other products in the same price range, or it's going to be done as a gifting guide,
100%.
versus
Yeah.
having very specific thought, thought on where the consumer segment is headed. So I think that is something that publishers should consider thinking, and that is because almost 40% of traffic is at stake, additional traffic. You can look at it that way. If you are
Exactly.
looking at
Yeah. Yeah.
rehashing, so I think even for news publishers, if I were to add, a lot of the content is primarily either driven by wires. Of course, wires is the biggest source of the information.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you look at most news websites, the coverage is kind of similar. Of course, like they say, the early bird gets the worm. A lot of traffic goes to the first one. But if you were to bring a different perspective, if you were to also answer follow-up questions that people would have based on a particular
100%.
event, I think that is going to bring in a lot more traffic, especially from search now.
Oh, 100%. And it's I think we have brought up a very interesting point here about news wires. And
Mhm.
what Google has mentioned is that news wire content they are not treating as unhelpful content. So even if the same newswire content goes on 10, 15, 100 publishers, that's still going to hold value for you guys. So you
You're
don't
right.
have to worry about the newswire content primarily because that's a lot of content if
Yes.
we consider a publisher's life cycle. But yeah,
Yep.
the keyword here being focus on your original content. How can you add your own perspective, your own flavor as a publisher to the content? What makes
Mhm.
you stand out within the crowd, and what are your principles as a publisher? I think that's it's probably the best time to showcase that.
Yep, absolutely. I think news wires, like you said, is I'd say a significant chunk for publishers that are doing your general news. But if you look at publishers who are doing multiple niches, for example, sports, entertainment as well,
Yeah.
so you guys then have an option to bring a different perspective in. And I think it's going to be a great way to bring in new subscribers and new audience as well. It's going to be a shift
Exactly.
from the original audience that you're getting.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. And see, ultimately, it's more of how you can become an expert within the industry. Uh,
Hmm.
what most publishers have cracked is being there in the industry long enough that they have created some level of existence for themselves, but having that unique branding and having people come back to you again and again for that specific feature or quality that you have, I think that's going to help them stand out. So that's I think something that a lot of publishers should. It's high time they should start focusing on that now.
Yeah. So,
But yeah,
something like that covered, like what has been the impact of
yeah.
the Mars core update?
Yeah. So one thing, the biggest one that we have seen is sites getting de-indexed. One of the earliest sites that got de-indexed was Freshers Life. This
Hmm.
website had like a huge organic impact. I personally have been seeing this site for more than 6 years now, working with a lot of Indian publishers. This Freshers Life was like a very direct competitor for us for a lot of media brands. And but yeah, I mean, there was always the question, right? What level of quality are they publishing with their content? They might be good at identifying trends, what topics to cover when, but the what's the substance within that content? I think they have finally been caught up to that. And if you can see here on the right side of the screen, you see
Hmm.
this is where the update started rolling out. This slow dotted line on the right side,
Yeah.
this orange dotted line. After that, this is the core drop that you can see. The organic traffic is almost up to zero because Google started de-indexing all the pages. So the blue line is the organic pages, orange is the organic traffic.
So there's a sharp drop.
A
That's
massive drop, yeah, almost 6 million traffic per month, and that's probably to zero now.
and what is the main reason for this particular one?
So
The core update, of course, is the one, but what
yeah,
caused
so
it to dip?
content quality seems to be the bigger issue here. Not spammy content as much, or AI content also for that matter. They
Mhm.
were publishing a lot of high volume of content, but what was the value from that content? Value is something I think that was the missing factor in here. There's a second example though,
Mhm.
and this is specific to programmatic content creation and how can sites win in this. So there's this
Mhm.
website listennotes.com where you can actually search for your podcasts, get recommendations, and you can directly subscribe to these podcasts from here as well. So it's like a search engine for podcasts. And what if you can see here around the core update, the traffic has grown considerably. So they were at about 200,000 visits, organic visits, and now they are almost at 400,000 visits per month. The
Wow,
bigger
that's
driver here is programmatic content created with specific users in mind, what their needs are, what type of content they are expecting, and the
Hmm.
site being able to ideally fulfill that. So user intent, keeping it at the major focus, I think that's the key for publishers to move ahead, or even large scale websites.